Is it working? Okay. Add. Okay. I like that setup. Let's reverse my camera. Ooh, there we go.
Okay.
Look, I got some fake candles. You like them?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look, I got a nice black one too.
Well, they're safer for sure.
Yeah, for real. And yeah, mainly the safety. The safety. Turn on my heater. And then we could begin. I'm gonna have to change the film afterwards. Make up mind up, little boy. You're going up for this. Go ahead, little black boy. Figure it out. Come on. Get out the door. All right. So, let me make sure I write down my questions as we go. Can we try to are you Hermetic Vibe on TikTok too?
Um, I am, but I'm in the process of changing my names all over the place to Soul
Uh,
Star.
okay. Well, for now we can do Hermetic Vibe over there.
Yeah.
Also in a few minutes. But where's the deck that you gave me? I think I might have packed it up in my train going back and forth. So yeah, here it is.
Well, what questions were you interested in so far?
I am interested in learning about the current, like today's transit. So today's
Hmm.
transit was the what is it again? The solar.
Well, today is the new moon in Libra. It was a solar eclipse because the moon in Libra passed the sun at 21 degrees today at about one and change, almost 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
Okay.
Hmm.
And so, what does that mean for the collective?
So, what this means for the collective, I mean, it's actually a buildup. So to actually start with this new moon, it would be like an injustice. It's actually a buildup. You can go as far back as like a few months ago when there was like a full moon in Leo. It's a transition from kind of, not even kind of, it's really being aware
Mm-hmm.
of your authentic self, presenting your authentic self to the world in your relationships, shedding what is toxic to you, what is not truly in line with your belief systems, things that are actually anchoring you to your past that is not in alignment with what you are trying to manifest for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
whether it is conscious or subconscious. I mean, we did go through a subconscious phase,
Mm-hmm.
especially with the moon in Pisces that happened,
Mm-hmm.
um, where we were actually being exposed to the delusions in our lives, things that we believe were one thing that was actually something different. Um,
Like taking
kind
the
of like
veil
like
off.
hmm,
Taking the veil off.
taking the veil off, as well as putting on the um well, it's kind of like getting out of the program.
Mm-hmm.
The way that we were programmed that are not in alignment with, what we're trying to manifest for ourselves, that was kind of being pulled away.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was the invitation to dream in alignment to your authentic self. So
Okay.
it's kind of like a letting go, and now like an incorporation of moving forward as the new you, which is
Okay.
truly the authentic you.
Okay.
So it was a lot of revelations.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's a massive awakening
Mm-hmm.
of really just shedding programs so that you can be free. And especially with the full moon in Aries, it was kind of like it was we're very motivated to actually take action towards what we've been trying to manifest all this time. And
Mm.
now Mars is in Scorpio. So it is definitely, I feel like it's definitely an ego death that's taking place.
Mhm.
Um, we we are, it's like a death, and it's not just subconscious, and it's not just subconscious, like, the Scorpio energy is more like subconscious, is really more in your face, but like the Mars energy, it's
Mhm.
like, all right, I see what time it is, and I've had enough.
Mhm.
I've had enough, and I'm going to take whatever steps that I need to be in alignment with what I want to be. So let's say you've gained a lot of weight, and now it's kind of like I've had enough. Like,
Mm.
this is not me, or the people in your life that you've known that you've given too much of yourself. I've had enough. You
Mm.
know, that goes to speak to, like, personally, where these signs are in a person's chart,
Mhm.
because mine is in the first house. So this is really my personal, truly, it's a transformation for everybody, but for me, it's very, very intense. I have Mars, I have Saturn in my first house, and I have Pluto. So this is really like, you know, like, my major transformation, and it's all about me, me harnessing my own power, taking
Mhm.
control of my own life,
Mhm.
you know, um, whereas somebody who has Libra in a different house, let's say they have it in the fourth house, it's more concentrated around the family, maybe
You said
see,
Libra in the first house?
well, I have Libra in the first house, but let's say somebody has Libra in the fourth house,
Oh, the
which would
fourth.
be telling a different story,
Okay.
because the North Node is in Aries,
Mhm.
the South Node is in Libra.
Okay.
It is, we're at home, maybe.
Right.
The person has been very focused on their relationships, their home, their family
Mhm.
situation, and perhaps they may feel, I actually want more freedom out of the household. I actually want to be working, or whatever the case may be,
Damn, I
you
wonder
know.
what
Um,
the moon is. Shoot.
there's It depends, like, because it might have planets in the house that could affect that as well. But
Mhm.
you're moving towards the Aries energy, because the North Node is in Aries right now. So
Okay.
you're looking for independence, taking action about yourself, thinking about yourself, your needs, what you want to do, how you want to do it, how you want to move, you
Mhm.
know. And it's less about you, and it's like kind of like letting go of people, places, and things that prevent you from moving the way that you want to move, from having the life that you want to live it. You know what I'm saying? Whether
Oh, it's a
so
freedom based energy.
it's a freedom, yes, but it's more of a freedom of letting go of programming. For
Mhm.
me, to me, like, it's about programming. Some people would say, be more specific and say relationships,
Mhm.
or certain themes in a person's life, patterns that were self-sabotaging. Anything that has been toxic, that is kind of like preventing you from moving forward into what you want, what is more in alignment with what you are. This is the energy of what has been happening, and right now, because it's Libra, it is focused on relationships, realizing what relationships are, like compartmentalizing them, or letting go which ones are not actually beneficial for us. you
Right. To
know
balance
um
things out too.
Right. So things like, with all these different energies of the moons that have happened in these transits, you start to realize the things about people that you realize that like, oh, wow, I overlooked this before.
Mhm.
Like, this is really who you are. Like, it's a big exposure. Like, people are realizing where they are in the world, in relationships to other people, and
Mhm.
how those people affect them.
Right.
It could be colleagues, it could be family members, it could be, significant others, it could be anybody.
Mhm.
So right now it's like a theme of relationships. And as you can see, leading up to this point, every day you hear somebody else getting a divorce.
Mhm.
Jada Pickett is and she's a Libra, so she's sitting here on everybody's talk show, talking about her relationship with Will right now, and everybody else she ever been in love with. You know what I'm saying? So
Now,
it's really affecting her.
are they, is she trying to get a divorce?
Well, what I've heard so far, I didn't hear about a divorce, but they've been separated for years. And
Right.
then at the time that when he slapped Chris Rock, that they were separated, so she was surprised that he said my wife, like he my wife name up your mouth, like she was surprised to hear that him
Mm-hmm.
say that.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a lot of exposure. A lot of the darker themes in relationships are coming out.
Okay.
Like a lot of people are with people who do not bring out the best in them, or are not in alignment with where they want to go in their life, and that's being
Mm-hmm.
exposed. So I think that that's a big theme. Like we've been seeing it. And then if you want to look on a collective scale, look at what's going on with Palestine and Israel. It's like this to me is also another theme of the underdogs are coming and are hungry. I'm saying? They out for blood. A lot of people who feel like they've been cast aside, been taken advantage of, have given a lot, and there has not been any reciprocity or justice. They are empowered to stand up for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You're starting to see that more and more. Like overall, like if you want to look at the different places in the world where countries are like standing up against, colonization and
Mm-hmm.
exploitation and all this other stuff. Like the underdogs are now having their say.
Hmm.
Like you can start to see that as well. Like there's a theme of empowerment for people who felt they didn't have power.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of recognizing the roles that people are playing in your story, and
Mm-hmm.
whether they need to be cut out. Maybe they need to be, their role needs to be adjusted.
Right.
There's also an element of like, you know, out with the old and with the new. Like, this is a time where this is also a new moon energy. So you think of like new energy coming in. So people might be connected with their soulmates, but
Mm-hmm.
there's also an element of not necessarily like, I would say, let time go by before establishing, this person was meant for my life, my entire life, because at the same time you're also being tested.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not necessarily a time to like engage with somebody, get engaged or get married necessarily, or just commit to someone. It's more of an observational, because you've been through a lot. People have gone through a lot of transformations within themselves, whether it's been bad or good, and you kind of want to make sure that the energy that that's entering in your life is in alignment with what you have now discovered about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have discovered, I have been a little bit too permissive, I haven't had any boundaries, or I've had these wounds that I have not healed, and now this person's coming into my life, this guy or this girl, I want, and they make me feel good, but are they in alignment with my past self, or with the direction that I want to go?
Mm-hmm.
you know
Yeah.
so there is that theme, and then we're going into, in 2 weeks from now, today is a new moon, so we're going into the full moon in Taurus. So now that we are aligning, we are now kind of putting into practice our alignment with the right people, and environments.
Okay.
We also, Taurus energy is about comfort, it's about value, it's about peace, it's about, you know um material comforts, and the environmental stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
are you at, are you at peace with yourself? What I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? What are the things that are not bringing you peace? What are things that are actually depleting from your abundance? What are things that are not in line with your values? Are you Do you look the way that you want to look? Do you feel the way you want to feel? Do you have the um do you have the are you just basically valuing yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Because Taurus rules the second house, which is how you support your first house,
Sure.
which is how you value yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so people want to look then like forward into wherever Taurus is in their chart, and see, like, are we valuing ourselves in the manner that we are intended to value ourselves? And how do those people, how do our environments, how do the different aspects of our life contribute to that, how we value ourselves, and how do we let go of those things that are not? allowing us to value ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
fully, you know.
So it sounds like spring cleaning, reevaluation, transformation, rebirth energy happening right now.
Well, absolutely, especially with the planets that are like, majorly like spoken about right now,
Hmm.
Neptune, um, the nodes, um, then we have Pluto, Saturn. Saturn is in Pisces right now.
Hmm.
Are we in tune with our emotional self?
Right.
Because it seems that because the Saturn is going to give you kind of like the indication, like if it does it make you feel bad, does it make you feel good?
Hmm.
You know, and I think people are going to feel more in line with being in service to people,
Hmm.
but at the same time there's also this balance that we're going through about, we have to realize that we're the main characters in our own story,
Hmm.
and we have to also be emotionally regulated, make sure that when we're giving, that it's actually not something that's taken away from us, but it's
Hmm.
actually a benefit, that we are in line with our higher self and the
Right.
things that we do, you know um there's kind of like an integration of our subconscious with our conscious mind.
Right.
There's also Venus and Lilith are now in Virgo, so also in relation to Mars being in Libra, I mean, excuse me, not Libra, Scorpio. There's an element of aggression and assertiveness and kind of pent up energy to kind of to forcefully push things out of our people out of our lives that don't make us feel good,
Mm.
you know so there is also, like, if a person has felt like all this time, like for a while, that they have been mistreated,
Hmm.
abused,
Hmm.
neglected, taken for granted, this will be a time where they more likely will express that, like, this is not, I'm not doing this.
So they're not gonna be shy or scared anymore. It's gonna reduce the fear.
Uh, right, well, you don't want to, you can be assertive
Hmm.
without going into that fear energy,
Hmm.
because the fear energy then makes you irrational. So there's also that balance where we have to kind of be in our fearless mode, where we're
Well, what I was
actually.
saying,
Hmm?
they're losing the fear is what you're saying. No.
Well, not necessarily.
Uh huh.
Not necessarily, because I wouldn't say that, because we are all in a stage, different stages of healing.
Hmm.
Um, and so this is also something that is triggering, like, our wound energy,
Hmm.
like, basically, like, why am I here? Like, what is my purpose to be here, kind of thing, that I think that a lot of us are trying to are trying to work out. Like, and it's not, it doesn't have thing to do with like self-esteem or self-worth, but it's kind of like, okay, I'm here on this planet, I can't stand anybody, I can't stand what's going on, or whatever the case may be. Why am I here? What is my purpose? Where am I going?
Hmm.
How can I achieve fully embracing the fact that I'm a human on this planet with everybody else,
Hmm.
and there is the frustration where, because everybody's not like you, not everybody's in resonance with you, and there's good and bad people.
Hmm.
What can I say? Like, there's people who are not nice, they're not necessarily good for your energy. I mean, every villain has been a hero to somebody, but
Hmm.
if they're a villain in your life, maybe they don't need to be there, but
Hmm.
maybe if you have been so passive all this time, if you have been biting your tongue, maybe it's been like a prolonged feeling of being taken for granted, this might be the time where you erupt and say fuck you. you
Hmm.
know I
Hmm.
mean, that is definitely, might be the time that will come out. I would say also, because I believe Mercury's also in Libra, so this also, people are on our minds, other people are on our minds,
Hmm.
relationships that are not doing well are on our minds,
Right.
and we might feel compelled to express ourselves,
Hmm.
and not necessarily in a nice way, but in defense of ourselves, of,
Hmm.
showing, like, articulating our value, to people who don't recognize our value, you know. How that plays out depends on a lot, like, how your chart is laid out,
Hmm.
So, I mean, you're Scorpio ascendant, so I'm believing Virgo is is that in your 10th house? Is that in your 10th house?
What, Virgo? Am I
Yeah. With Scorpio before that is okay, so you have a Scorpio 12th house?
No.
If it's Sagittarius ascendant, right?
Yeah, but I guess it depends on what chart you're looking at. So when I always look at
Okay, whole house. Because
yeah.
Placidus is going to be a little, it's going to be different. But the
Yeah.
easiest with the whole house, I believe um Scorpio is
12th
your
house.
12th house, a Libra is your 11th, and Virgo is your 10th house.
Mm. Because I always look
I'm
at
well,
Placidus.
I'm assuming Virgo is your 12th house. I mean your 10th house.
Hmm.
you know um and so this will be a time when it's kind of like, especially when it comes to your career, when it comes to like, how you're presenting out to the world, or how people see you in this world. You want them to see your value, that you're pretty probably like no nonsense. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? Like, you this is a time when you're probably going to be a little bit more vocal and more assertive about, like, listen, this is what I am, this is what I'm about. If you don't fit in this category, you don't fit in,
And that
you
makes,
know?
because again, my Lilith is in my first house.
Mhm.
So it's a take it or leave it kind of personality. Also, I wanted to ask, what do you think about so we're new moon Libra right now, but my moon is in Libra, first degree. And
Mhm.
significance with that, I just now noticed it was first degree, but I never really delved into degrees.
Well, first degree is Aries.
Hmm.
So your moon operates in Libra, but with the um in the form of Aries, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Which is definitely conflicting all around, because the moon is your needs. This is
Hmm.
what I need. This is my emotional needs. Okay.
Hmm.
Libra is not all about you. Libra
Hmm.
is about partnerships, about relationships, it's
Hmm.
about compromising, it's about harmony,
Hmm.
synastry with other people. Okay.
Hmm.
Aries is also independence. It's about yourself.
Hmm.
Okay. So there might be conflicts overall, just in general, with you figuring out how to meet your needs without being too um abrasive to others, like completely discrediting their needs, makes to
Hmm.
make sure that your needs are met. That might be more often than not. And the times when you feel like you've given too much on your end, it probably really does, like, piss you off.
Hmm.
Like when you've given and it's not appreciated.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Something like that could really upset you, you
Hmm.
know? So with this new moon, I mean, it's the impact of that would just be kind of recognizing, especially of all the transits that happened up until this point. You
Hmm.
probably pretty much have identified and compartmentalized people to
Hmm.
determine who needs to stay and who needs to
Yep.
go, because everybody is not coming with you,
Nope.
and
Yep.
so it's really kind of like, all right, so is this person meet my needs in
Hmm.
this way, like my this how does this person trigger me emotionally, my needs, do I need them,
Right.
and so this is kind of where you are, and because you have that assertive energy of Aries, it's that's not going to be too much for you to either ghost people or just tell them point blank, like, listen, no, like, this is relationship is not working out.
Mm.
Especially because also transiting besides that is also um the Mercury is also in Libra, as
Mhm.
well as we're in Libra season going into Scorpio season. So with the sun still being in, I mean, it's not necessarily conjunct your
Mhm.
moon, because you said your moon was at 1 degree. The
Mhm.
moon right now is the sun right now is at 21 degrees, so it's not conjunct, but it's still in the energy. And
Mhm.
so your the moon is also like subconscious energy, you
Mhm.
know? Like we subconsciously operate in the moon
Mm.
energy, you know? And
Mhm.
but now the sun is illuminating that moon. So it's not subconscious anymore. You're very consciously saying no or yes. You know,
Mhm.
this is not subconscious. This is like I made up. I come to this conclusion. This is what came to
Mhm.
me, and this is
Mhm.
not going to work. And I'm very assured. I'm very assured in how I feel.
All right. So let's bring it back to the collective. After this particular transit, what do you think we can expect to see happen with people? Because I feel like during this transit, a lot of people were in chaos and conflict. There was a lot of that happening around people. To people, around people, and me in particular, it was associated with people that I have to deal with, and them creating chaos in their own lives, not for me, so to speak, but for themselves, not really using common sense, just creating problems where there weren't any. So tell me, what do you think this transit now, where we are stationed right now, and then what's coming up? What do we like? What's the turning point? What are we expecting?
Well, I think the most important thing is to recognize that we need to be focused on self,
Mm-hmm.
on bettering ourself. Even though this is a collective energy, us individually all together make a collective. And
Okay.
so it's kind of like, in order to help everybody else, first you must help yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So besides, because we've been cleaning house the last
Right.
couple, transits. We've been cleaning house until this energy. We're still cleaning house. The next energy, that will be, full moon. We're still kind of releasing and letting go. But
Mm-hmm.
also we want to also recognize the Taurus, which is where we, supports out how we value ourselves, how we create comfort in our lives, how do we use this physical world to manifest peace for us, you
Mm-hmm.
know and I think that this is kind of where we need to be focused on, like, how do we achieve peace for ourselves, you know
Mm-hmm.
um no matter who. It's not necessarily the face of the people in our lives that are attached to it. We really
Mm-hmm.
have to look in the mirror and see ourselves, like, what is peace for us.
Mm-hmm.
We've had the dreaming energy of the super moon in Pisces. We was able to dream. We recognize with the Leo energy prior to that, we are important, that we do want to shine, we do want to be recognized for something. you
Right.
know um we've been kind of like peeling the onion,
Mm-hmm.
with the Virgo, and like kind of like setting, like what are my boundaries, what
Mm-hmm.
how can I preserve my health, myself, what do I need to let go, what toxic crap is anchoring me to misery, you
Mm-hmm.
know um Aries, the ambition to push forward, to move forward towards, the things that, to what we're passionate about. What are you passionate about?
Mm-hmm.
What are you passionate about? We're really just coming into ourselves, aligning the different energies of ourselves. Like, if you kind of like, integrate this other esoteric, information, the power of manifestation, like, what is your why? What are you passionate about? Then see it, feel that it has already happened, take action
Mm-hmm.
towards it. Aries, who are you taking along with you on this journey? Who do you have to let go? Who's dead weight?
That part.
you know and then live in the abundance. How does that, what does that look like?
Right.
Does that look like, what does that look like for you? How is this manifesting in the physical? in your environment, in your space, in your material wealth, you
Right.
know? How? That's really kind of like what it is. Like it has it's this is like, our individual journey, especially during the Virgo um full moon. It was very hermit. It was very like, let's be to myself, let me figure this out for myself, let me go within myself. you
Mm-hmm.
know this is very much an individual journey where you kind of can't necessarily look at other people. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you can see, and with, be of, and help, but also you have to make sure that you are taking care of yourself first. You have to
Mm.
take care of yourself first. It's about you right now,
Right.
you know. Um, so it's a lot, and mind you, we're going from the age of Pisces. Now we're in Aquarius, age of Aquarius. Where the old paradigms, programs, belief systems are not necessarily as important as what's going to happen going forward. It's like it's a whole reframing,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Um,
We see that in the political era too, because we got old people dying off, and people are calling for like reform in the politics of America from multiple ways, but age. Like, we
mhm,
don't need people to die in these positions.
mhm.
They need to have term limits, and give way to the youth that should be running the country, not necessarily little kids, but you know what I mean. They don't need
I,
to be 80, 90, 100 years old and still in the same position doing the same thing.
right. I mean, this is definitely. I mean, all the things that are happening right now in a collective.
Hmm.
It's not by coincidence. We have Biden. We have Mitch McConnell, both oldest sin, having their golden years meltdowns on camera now.
Hmm.
And then we have, in Africa, we have, older presidents that youth are now saying we need something new. you
Hmm.
know Tinubu is one. There's different other presidents there that are very old. They've been I don't even know some of these political systems whether you can have the same president for like 12 years. I mean,
Right,
some of these
right.
places is that bad.
Hmm.
And then we have like kind of like this archaic system that was happening in Israel and Palestine that was not working.
And also, a lot of these African countries want to get rid of democracy because they don't
Hmm.
agree with it. They said it doesn't resonate with them,
They want to
and
create their own newer
right,
version that more resonates with how they are as a culture.
right.
It's getting rid of the old ideals and now going to innovation, moving forward into something new and better and new and improved. Aquarius energy is not so emotional as much as it is like analytical and observant and picking out what's not working and enforcing change.
Mm-hmm.
Pisces is very emotional
Mm.
energy. you know
Mm-hmm.
Aquarius not so much. Aquarius is more detached emotionally. It's more like factual. This is what it is. This is not working. We got to
Right.
change this. This is not fair. This is not just. This doesn't make any sense.
And this is not innovative, so we
And
got.
this is not it,
Mhm.
right? And the Aquarius energy is very vocal. They're very to the point. Like, no, this doesn't work. Help me to understand your ill logic because it's not working. You
Right,
know,
right.
and so this is where we're going, and we are going in this shift. We're seeing this eruption. We're
Mm.
seeing a lot of conflict, the old with the new.
Right.
The old is dying off and is holding on for dear life, and the new is fighting to be recognized.
Mm.
It's trying, so we're seeing this on so many different levels. We're going through a rebirth as a species.
Mm-hmm.
We're going through a rebirth, and on an individual level as well.
Hmm. Okay. Well, I'd like to take this over to TikTok Live. Let's see
Mhm.
what we do over there. But I appreciate you coming on and breaking down this current solar eclipses and the moon in Libra energy, and the fact that we're changing these what these transits mean. I hope that the audience that gets to see this um, is enlightened by it, helps them unpack and understand what they may be experiencing. Um, but we're going to end the live here and go take it over to TikTok by the same names. So if you want to find us over there and you are a TikToker, go ahead and check us out there. All right. So thank you, Hermetic Vibe. We appreciate you. And I will end this live now.
Okay. Okay, bye-bye.